Good. I'm good. Okay. Welcome everybody tonight to our May workshop. And we have with us tonight, we have our town board. We have Andrew Riggenbaum, Steve Moreau, Stephen Vedetti, Sylvia Santiago. We have our highway superintendent, Anthony Feo, our town clerk, Kelly Allegra, and our town attorney, Dave Zagon, and our IT genius and specialist, Patrick Mangan. Why are you laughing, Patrick? I think you're a genius. And again,
Depends who you ask.
I don't know yeah, it depends on who you ask. I think he's pretty smart. And I'm George Myers, the town supervisor. So the first item on our agenda tonight is this new New York State law regarding marijuana and cannabis. It's clear to us that the state has not given a lot of thought to this law that now is the law of the land. We have some issues with our employees as to, like, especially people up the highway garage and our police officers who are out there, and we really need to kind of get a better handle on what the requirements are for them. We have been studying everything and attending every meeting that we possibly can to gather information. The town board's going to have to write a new drug policy that we have to get done before too long, but I really need to get some more information so I can kind of get it out to them. I've had the town attorney did a synopsis for everybody, which I sent to the board members. And one of the things that is critical is whether or not we opt out of this. Opting out of it means that we would not allow retail dispensary or on-site consumption. So people can open up different businesses and have on-site consumption. So it's one of the things we're looking at. There's some kind of tax that we might be able to get. It turns out that we would get about 3% of whatever money is spent on these retail dispensaries and on-site consumption. We have until December 31st to decide whether or not to opt in or out. So I think that we will get some more information to the board members, or if they pick up anything, they should kind of get it to us so we can make an intelligent decision on this. I would say that we had, one of the things that came up, we had an employee who tested positive for marijuana and then brought him in, and he had a medical card, which allowed him to have marijuana in his system. So we've been talking to the police chief and the town attorney, and really, we need to put a little more thought into this than the state put into what they did. But as I said, this is the law of the land now. So we definitely will revisit this. We have to do a public hearing about whether opting in or opting out. So at some point in time before the end of the year, we will definitely do a public hearing. But if any board member comes up with anything that we think we need to know, get it to us, and whatever we come up with, I'm sending to all of the other board members so they know what we're looking at. But it certainly is a problem for us that we are going to have to struggle with. The second item on the agenda is a proposed zoning change. And there seems to be lots of talk about this on social media. And it's where a company wants to come in and do some filming like HBO and Netflix, and a local business owner has purchased 4 or 5 buildings. He's purchased Toyota, Bowling Time, Alex's Boatyard. Those 3 are on 9W on one side, and he's in contract to purchase Pier 9. So the problem is that it's not a permitted use in that zone. So we have finally received a petition from the owner's attorney, and I forwarded that to everybody. And we're going to have a public hearing on this, and the public hearing won't be until July, because there's some requirement that we need to get some paperwork from DEC, the Orange County Planning Board, and our own planning board. But DEC seems to be the problem, and they're 45 days. There has been an issue with this particular project from the get-go. The owner of this property was issued a stop work order because they were sneaking in the middle of in early morning hours at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to do some work. One of our fire inspectors or code inspectors was down there at 6:15 and stopped them And then they've been to the planning board and have some discussion with our building inspector, Jennifer Gallagher, and this has been going on since July of 2020. So we're coming up to like 10 months. This has been going on for 10 months. So it just didn't happen. But each time they came to the building department, they came with another story. They were just going to be offices, and then it was going to be a sound stage, and we could never kind of pin them down. And it gets worse. Just the other day, they showed up with some plans for a gas station at the Toyota building. So we are really kind of concerned about what's really going on there. And we have had a series of meetings with them, and mostly Mrs. Gallagher with them down in the building department, and they seem to change their mind at every turn. And the gas station was like, I don't know where that came from, but we think that it might have been somebody else that the owner was dealing with. So what we have done is we've asked the owner to come in tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And if any of the board members wanted to show up, we'll be here in my office and tell us exactly what he's going to do in these buildings. So I have some concerns about the residents, and I have had a couple of calls from people on NE and Fay, one NE and one Fay. So if it's totally enclosed, maybe it looks like it might be okay, but this would be a zoning change and a bulk table change for all NC zones. So it's not just that particular area, and I'm getting inundated with letters of support from people from California and New York City and Newburgh, but the folks from the filming business, they're making these wild projections that we're going to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax revenue, and the Windsor residents are going to get hundreds of jobs, and the thing's going to be just great for us. And I'm kind of not too sure that that's what will happen. So that's where I'm going to kind of try to pin them down myself, and I know that the board feels the same way. We're here to protect the New Windsor taxpayers, and that's first and foremost in my mind every day, that want to make sure that everything is good for them. So we want to hear exactly what they want to do. They're saying how people will benefit from jobs and catering and this one and that one, but any of the letters I'm getting are from people who are not New Windsor people. So I think we need to really hold their feet to the fire, and if they say that they're going to do these things, they have to do it. I know that you're probably familiar with the IDA, the Orange County IDA. They had these same kind of nonsense where they were get these big tax breaks from people, and they were going to create 300 jobs, and a year later there's 20 people working there and they got a tax break. So these folks are not looking for a tax break, but they are looking to start this business here. And I think it's hard to kind of make a intelligent decision without kind of having this change every 2 minutes as to what's going to happen. And as I said just the other day, so today being Monday, I think it was Thursday, came to my attention that someone showed up that we wanted to do a gas station at Toyota. And Toyota was one of the places where they were going to do this filming. So I think we have to see exactly what they're going to do. And we have some time on this, but I just wanted, all the letters that I received and emails that I received, I sent to the board members. So you all have a copy of it, and we'll be able to discuss this a little more. But I think once I hear from them tomorrow about what they're going to do there, then we can kind of take a look at the petition that we have, that I've sent you a copy of, and then we'll have a public hearing. And I've asked Todd Wiley, the assessor, to put together a list to mail out to our residents who live in the vicinity of those businesses. So we're talking about Plum Point condos, Lafayette, down behind Toyota, NE and Fay, Blooming Grove Turnpike. So I want those people to know that there's a public hearing that will be held in July, and they will be able to kind of participate if they want to, and ask some questions and see where we're going. But I think that we need to be careful as a board what we do. And then if we do agree to the zoning change, then they first have to go to the planning board. So I think that some of this pie in the sky stuff, it doesn't impress me. And hundreds of jobs, I think you have to belong to certain, I think, actors group or some as a union. And I don't think you can do work on these sets without being a member of a certain union. So I need to be sure that the Windsor businesses and residents are going to benefit by this. So I think we have to do some due diligence on this to get to the bottom of this. And I know Dave has been involved in this the whole time. So before anybody else, Dave, do you have anything you want to add to that? Dave? There
Sorry,
you go.
I was trying to unmute. No, I mean, I don't have anything to add. I can certainly answer any, or try to answer any questions that any of the town board members have.
Okay. Any of the board members
but-
want to say anything?
Yeah, George, I just got a question. Thank you for the invite for tomorrow. Yeah, you did mention that you're gonna have the building owner coming. Is any potential tenants gonna show up so we know what they're actually doing, or does the building owner know?
Yeah, just the owner, because he's the one that we would go to. He needs to know what's going in his building. I don't deal with tenants. I want to deal with the guy who owns the building. So the tenants, where everything is great, this is gonna be good, but if something goes wrong, then we're gonna hold the owner's feet to the fire. So he's been told to come in with whatever they're gonna do. He's the one who talked about sound studios, and then he's the one who came in with the gas station.
So
I
he'll
think-
have a presentation from
yeah,
whoever.
That's
Okay,
that's what I'm imagining, that he would make a
Okay.
presentation, and then at the public hearing, I'm imagining at that point, then the tenant can make a pitch. I'll let them start off, and they can make a pitch as that what we're doing. But I really want to get these people on record as to what they're going to do, because I will definitely be, anybody who knows me, I will definitely be following up on this when they
All right,
get here.
thank you.
So, yeah, no, we have a ways to go on this thing. I just want everybody to know that some of the things that I'm thinking about, and no, they'll definitely have a chance to let us know what they're going to do. And listen, it may be a good thing. I just want to be sure that it is a good thing. Okay, the next item on the agenda, we had some trouble down at the water treatment plant with a piece of our equipment broke. It's called a trickling filter turntable. And we need to get this thing fixed. Replacement's $110,000. I've asked Mike Weeks, and he's kind of given us something that it's an emergency thing and needs to be done. We have $126,000 in an old sewer bond from the capital fund that we will use to fund this. So there won't be any more impact than we've already had. Unfortunately for us, this is something that will just take us through until we get the plant expanded, which is going to take a few years anyway. But this is something that has to happen. So I think I did send everybody a copy of this too. Next item on agenda, finally, this looks to me like we're getting very close to the end of the road for the Lake Road Bridge project. This is the final payment, which we'll do. And there's maybe one more agenda item that we'll probably do Wednesday, talking about a credit that we'll get back. But this project was a long time in the making, and finally, I think we're done, mercifully. The next item on the agenda is Town Clerk Kelly Allegra is going to sponsor a rabies clinic out at Christie Babcock Park on May 22nd from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And I think we've posted this on the website, and I'm sure that people will be participating, and we'll get this done. It's not the first time we did this, and it's always been well received before. The next item on the agenda is we have to now come up with this community development block grant. We have to make a proposal. I know I've sent the board a copy of the three things that Mike Weeks and I have talked about. One is the Valesgate Heights Drive drainage improvements. The other is a pump station 13 replacement. That's at Stewart Airport. And the third one is the New Windsor Senior Center down here, that we would put some money in there regarding replace and repair of the air conditioning system. So I've asked Anthony Feo to maybe give us an overview of why he thinks this Valesgate Heights Drive drainage improvement would be the one that we should go after. And it's just a matter of filing the application. We don't know we're getting anything, but this is what we would request. So do you have anything you want to add, Anthony, on this thing? Is he muted?
Just a normal block grant. The drainage is in repair down there. It does need to be updated. So it's just a matter if we get the block grant or we have to obviously pay for it out of our account.
Yeah, so this is something that has to have, I guess, Superintendent Fayol, Highway Superintendent Fayol identified that the project would consist of approximately 3,000 linear feet of pipe and 25 catch basins to replace the existing failing drainage improvement located within Bales Gate Heights Drive. This project is eligible since it is located solely within an eligible low to moderate level income census tract and block. Pre-design construction costs are estimated to be about $450,000. The pump station is estimated to be $500,000, and the air conditioning down at the community center is $160,000. So personally, I think that the drainage one may be the one that we go after for the community development block grant. I don't know if any of the board members think one of the other projects might be better or agree with that.
George, there was an issue, I believe, something you sent out about Sloop Hill Road. I know that's an issue. Is that
Yeah.
eligible or for this or?
I don't think so. I think we talked about that. That's on the agenda for tonight, Sloop Hill.
I didn't know if that was part of this.
I don't think that was one of the ones that we could put an application in for. Because I know that Weeks was familiar with that. We've talked about that a number of times. That's item 9 coming up. So, is everybody okay with this drainage thing to see if we can get, we'll file it, see what we get. I don't know if there's any money coming our way or not, but we can try. Yeah, we'll go for that. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I'm sorry, did we plan on doing the 3 years worth of the CBDG to cover this or? I think we're eligible for money either yearly or for 3 years.
This is our turn to put in for something. So, I mean, I don't know how much money is available. And everybody puts in for whatever, it's like a kind of wish list, I think. If a
Yeah, so
3-year
it's like-
grant was awarded to the town, would not be eligible to apply again until 2025. So we get this, that would cover 3 years, if we get it.
Okay, thank you.
Big if. All right, the next item on the agenda is, I just left the meeting a little while ago. I met with the New Windsor Emergency Medical Service, the Ambulance Corps. I met with their chief, Mike Biggs, and with their board members. And we have been responding to a lot of calls in Cornwall. And it's becoming an issue, and I've had some conversation with the supervisor in Cornwall that we just can't keep doing this, even though some of them are billable, some of them are not billable, but we have people that we're paying to stand by, and our taxpayers fund our ambulance district, and they do not have an ambulance district in Cornwall. And their volunteers seem to be kind of fading fast. So I think that we have come up with a game plan. I talked to Supervisor Randazzo the other day and said by Tuesday or Wednesday, meaning tomorrow or the next day, I need an answer as to what they're going to do. Then they have to contribute to what we're doing. So the board at the ambulance corps, they seem to be on board, and I'll wait to hear what the supervisor says. And the new mayor in the village of Cornwall is now involved in this too. So we just cannot keep going to Cornwall answering calls. It's not fair to our taxpayers who are funding our ambulance corps through the tax district. So I will certainly keep you abreast of what comes up, but the ball now is in Cornwall's court. And I think we're getting to the point where soon we're going to say we're not coming anymore. And we just can't keep going. I actually called the county executive the other day and said that there seems to be an issue over here with the ambulance service, not only in Cornwall, but in the town of Highlands. I've spoken to the police chief in the town of Highlands, Frank Pieri, and they have an issue down there. We are back up to Blooming Grove, so we backed them up and they back us up. But I've noticed that we've gone to some calls in Montgomery, and to me, it just doesn't seem fair. So the board and Mike Bigg were in agreement that they know it's not fair. So I'm going to wait to hear from the supervisor in Cornwall, and then I'll put a memo together and I'll send it to our board members, and just to kind of let you know where this thing is going. But I just met with them for like a half an hour before I came here, but I don't know, we had like 81 calls that in this 4 months that weren't even in the town of New Windsor. So to me, it just, not fair that our taxpayers are paying for this and they're not. So that kind of annoys me. So I'll try to keep you abreast of this, but this is like an ongoing thing that's been going on for a while. I've had a few conversations with the supervisor down there, who's a good guy, realizes that, yeah, that they need to do something. So hopefully they'll call me tomorrow. And what I said to the ambulance corps is once they call, we'll get them to the table. So if there is a meeting, I'll let the board members know if anybody wants to come to the meeting, they can come and we'll see what we can get, make this fair for everybody. But it's really not our problem, it's their problem. I just to give you an overview of the parks, the recreation, where we are. Rachetti, the basketball hoops went up today. The parking lots are paved. There's a couple issues down there that I'm looking at. The building needs maybe some roof work, some gutters and windows. There's some talk about a pickleball out front there that we used to have the ice skating rink, but all new equipment's in that park. It looks pretty good. Sanji, we're going to knock down that structure that's by the bathrooms. It's just in a horrible condition. It looks terrible, dirty. So we've gotten a price from Nanini and Callahan for $19,000 to take the structure down, leave the bathrooms there. We'll upgrade the interior of the bathrooms, and we're in the process. We had John Ajudo out there with Keith Bedetti Friday, looking to run the water line for the dog park, which the fencing I'm hoping is going to start this week for the dog park. We've got some cameras in there. I have a proposal to buy some of those shade things where people could have some shade out there. I think they're $5,000. I'll kind of do a memo to everybody when I get there. And the benches for the dog park. Little Falls is done. Bull Road, we did the paving, the basketball hoops going up. Butter Hill, we ordered a piece of equipment for Butter Hill after Sylvia Santiago, councilwoman, did a survey of Butter Hill residents and they want the park. Beaver Dam, basketball hoops, new swing set out there. Plum Point, if you haven't been to Plum Point, really looks good. There's that road that takes you all the way down by the river and around to the county park. And Mount Airy, we're probably going to do some painting with the pavilion and the paving. But we have definitely upgraded our park system. I don't think anybody who's ever been there, I've had a couple of calls about how everybody's happy with the parks. And I think the money that was spent in the parks came from our parklands funds, which sometimes referred to as recreation funds, that are funded by our developers when they build in the Windsor. And last I looked, there was like $651,000 in that account. So we're still in pretty good shape in that account. So I think we have done a good job with the parks. And I think as spring and summer gets going, people will see it. So the next item on the agenda is this Sloop Hill Road. And I think Anthony Fayo's done some work on this. And Ed, you want to give us a little history of what went on down there?
So about 10 years ago with Lee and Irene, the hurricane, we had lost a section of that road. I had repaired it and it was holding up to just last year. And we had about that 3 inches of rain in about 30 minutes. Took it out again, the edge of the road. We repaired it again, but we seem to be losing it over the winter again. So we have to get somebody in there to back it more. Maybe put some pile drivers in there to protect the edge of the road because it goes over the bank probably about 30 feet.
So we're beyond where we could do anything anymore, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna have to I got Mike Waits involved. We're gonna have to get some contractors in there to protect it so I can save the edge of the road. Otherwise, we're just gonna keep losing it.
It seems pretty dangerous to me. I went down there the other day. I mean, we could have a serious issue there, but there's a memo that I sent to the board and I sent to the Jack Finnegan, the controller, that have do some work that the attached proposal for professional services includes performance of soil borings and the preparation engineering reports will evaluate the borings and provide recommendations for corrective action. The cost to perform this work is $12,000, and I think as an emergency, that I think I need to authorize this to at least get this going. We have tried a couple of times to fix it, and I think we could be in trouble if we don't fix it. So I think that I'll authorize that as an emergency work and get it done. The next item on the agenda is the roofs. And I've been talking to Mike Weeks about the roof at Town Hall, the ambulance corps building. We have kind of looked at the highway department, but we're going to hold off on anything in the highway department because I have the belief that someday somebody's going to want to buy that property. It's probably the most prime piece of real estate on that airport where the highway garage is. So we've been patching that roof, and the highway superintendent Feo has advised me that that's okay, that he can get by with the way it is. So we had some proposals, which I sent everybody. To Town Hall roof was 500,000, 555,000. Ambulance corps, 160,000. Construction costs another 180,000. Engineering, 175. So it's $1 million. And then there was some kind of issue with asbestos on the roof. So we all know that the asbestos has been an issue in this town before. So I was sensitive to that. So I had town attorney look into it, and we believe that the folks who said there's asbestos up there are right, that they would not put their license on the line and say that there's asbestos looking for work. So I'm gonna kind of get together with Weeks a little more, the town engineer, and I'll come back to you with this. But these two roofs, the ambulance corps and the town hall roof, certainly need some work. But I mean, we have a lot of big projects going on now. And I want to be sure that how we're going to fund this. There's only so much we can kind of get done, but we are kind of moving in a lot of different directions, as you all know. The next item on the agenda is a new chapter 25, the Code of Ethics, that the Ethics Board that was appointed in 2019 has put together. So I sent a copy of this new ethics code along with they proposed a new disclosure form to all the board members. And I would just say this, that this is a recommendation from the ethics board, and the final say is the town board. So I was called into the ethics board. I didn't ask to go there. They asked me to come in, and I kind of looked at what they were doing, and I had a couple of comments that I gave them, and I thought some of the hiring was a little too restrictive, and they kind of took that under consideration, and I see that it's in this new code of ethics. And what I'll ask the board is to take a look at this, and we'll get back to it next month and see where we're going. For me, I'm good the way it is. I mean, this is allegedly oversight of town government, and if this is what they think, then I think I'm okay with it. But I need for the rest of the board to look at it and come back. I'll put it on the agenda again, and we'll see if any of the board members have anything that they want to, you can add or take out. So you are the final word, but for me, I'm good with the way it is. This is what they say, and I'm fine with it. The next item on the agenda is much discussion with Matt Veronese and Keith Bedetti and Patrick Mangan, the IT genius. I think we're going to try the community day at a limited times from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it would be on August 21st. And we're going to shorten the day. In addition to shortening the day, we're going to eliminate vendors. We won't have as many as we had before. And a lot of them were like crafts and jewelry and things like that. We're going to eliminate them. Only allowing sponsors to have vendor space, one stage with live music, 5 food vendors. The soccer field would be spread out with a carousel and some rides for the kids. A small little kicker field. I think I sent everybody a copy of this. And sponsors levels will be charged this year, being it's charged will be changed this year, be a little less. Off-site parking would be at Cornwall High School again. And people would wear masks, I guess, if that's still in play in August. And the night would end with fireworks. And he's looking at expenses between 25 and 30,000, which will be covered by sponsors. So it looks to me like everything's kind of lightening up here. I see both, I mean, not both, New York State, Jersey, and Connecticut kind of like backing down. I did a survey today of our folks in town hall to see how many were vaccinated. And I would say about 70% town hall. vaccinated. It's a little less in the PD and a little less up at the highway garage. And we have had recently a little flare up at the highway garage. But other than that, we seem to be kind of getting on target. And I'm kind of moving towards kind of getting town hall back to where it was before the COVID came. I'm struggling with one issue, and the issue is that the code officers cannot work 8 hours. They can only give us 4. So I'm a little concerned that once I open the door, that I don't know how many people I'll get in town hall, but I'm kind of keeping an eye on things. The numbers seem like they're really low. And I believe that anybody who wanted to be vaccinated is vaccinated already. I think that we're getting down to where you have the people who don't want it, they're not going to get it, and that's the end of it. So it kind of looks to me like it floats around 46 to 48% of people have it. We have a lot of people here on the town hall and who are vaccinated or have had it. So that's just the community day and where I think we're going with town hall. We had an audit by the, which is the next item. We had an audit of our information and technology department by the New York State Comptroller. And we had a couple issues. One was we needed an acceptable use policy, and one was some type of training and disaster recovery and online banking. So John McDonald, the head of our IT, has addressed the first 3 and corrected those. The last thing we need to correct is we need some kind of online banking that Jack Finnegan is working on now. As soon as we get that, then we'll be done. So I had talked to the guy who did this survey, and it seemed to me that they just had to write something up. So the only thing that I think we really probably got to do is this online banking. The other 3 things we've addressed already. The next item on the agenda is like, we don't have enough to do. I kind of looked at that Riley Road filter plant. It's 40 some odd years old. It's not in great shape. It has some issues with cleaning turbidity up. So I've asked Mike Tremper, who owns Camo Pollution, to give me some names of some engineering firms that might be able to help us with this. I think that since the town's engineering firm is doing the wastewater treatment plant, it would be too much for them to do this too. So I'm asking Mike to give me some names. I'll interview some people, and I'll make some recommendations to the board. And then my vision is that whoever we decide to help us upgrade and expand the Riley Road treatment plant can overlook the sewer plant upgrade, and McGowan Hauser can overlook the Riley Road upgrade. So we can have a kind of couple of sets of eyes and make sure that we're not being taken to the cleaners here, because it's 2 large projects. But as you well know, the filter plant on Forge Hill Road is having its troubles already, and it's only a couple of years old, 3 years old, and I don't know where that's going to end. So as I said when we were campaigning here, that I always wanted just to go back to the aqueduct of Riley Road. So, but first things first, we have to get an engineering firm, then we got to get some numbers. So it's going to take a while, but like the sewer plant, it has to start someplace. So I think this is where it's going to start. Mike Trepper was going to get back to me this week. He was on vacation last week. When he gets back to me, I'll kind of put a memo together for the board and see who these people are. He had some names right off the top of his head that he thought could help us out with this Riley Road plant, but I really think that needs to be expanded and upgraded. So like the sewer plant, at some point in time, you got to bite the bullet and do something. The last public item I have is we are making some, we're doing a lot of work in town hall because it's been having some issues there. We have done a lot of work down in the police department with their booking room, and I think they're in the readout room or another room. Let's say the report room, and the floors are next. We're going to do some carpet work in town hall. We're going to do the receiver. We did the town clerk's office last year. We're going to do the receiver of taxes office this year, the court clerk, office in the hallway before someone falls and kills himself. So I've been talking to Keith Vedetti, and he's going to do a lot of the work before the carpet people come in, cut down the cost. So I'll put together a memo to the board members, what the costs are here, but this is pretty much like your house. If you don't take care of it, it's gonna fall apart, and things were starting to fall apart. So Keith and his guys in buildings and grounds have been doing a good job, and they'll move all the furniture and get the carpet up and get it all ready for the carpet people, so they'll come in and lay the carpet in, and we'll save some money there. But I have sent him memo thanking him and his people for the work that they've done, and appreciate their help. That's the last item on the public agenda. So we'll be back on again Wednesday night, where the public will be able to comment on anything at all, and also on the agenda items on Wednesday. But as is always, you can comment on anything, and I will answer whatever it is that I can. And I usually can answer your questions. If not, I'll get back to you. Okay, so let's knock the public off and keep the board on. And let me cover a few things.